One of the things that's been in the headlines over and over and over again is the same-sex marriage issue. There's been lots of debate, and we don't have to go back into the ins and outs of it, but I am kind of intrigued by a couple of statements that are being made. One by the Human Rights Commission. Yesterday, early this week, Bermuda gained the shameful honour of being the first jurisdiction to allow marriage equality and then remove and replace it with legislation that is aimed clearly at being separate and unequal. Do you see it as shameful?
What I see it is the fact that this is a government that will make the difficult decisions and will lead when it's necessary and required. The former government abdicated its responsibility. The former government dithered on this issue on numerous occasions. We are going to take the bull by the horn so that we can put this issue behind us and we can focus on the issues that matter more to a wider section of this country, and that is jobs and economic growth. It is very important that that the government is focused on those particular issues. In relation to this, the issue of same-sex relationships, same-sex couples, after the passage of the Domestic Partnership Act, enjoy more legal benefits than they previously had. That is something that is being missed in the hysterics of which is coming through in the international media and those persons who want to find a way to attack the Progressive Labour Party government. What happened previously before is that, for instance, same-sex couples did not have rights to pensions, did not have rights to survivorship benefits, hospital visitation, health insurance rights prior to the passage of the Domestic Partnership Act. They now have those benefits which they did not previously have. We believe that that is an improvement in the position of where we had, and we recognize that this is a compromise that both sides do not like. But that's what happens sometimes when you compromise.
The Human Rights Commission went on to say we must stem the attacks and erosion of human rights that has been pervasive over the past 2 years of our tenure. Do you see there's been an erosion of human rights when it comes to same-sex marriage?
No, I don't.
No?
Nope.
So the reason stated about giving more rights?
What I'm saying is I don't agree with that perspective, and what we can understand is that different people may have different opinions on this, but the fact is, under the laws of which Bermuda is ascribed to, same-sex marriage is not a human right under the European Convention of Human Rights. It is not. They have said that. That is the fact. So people can have their own opinions, people can say what they like to say. We like to deal in the place of reality. And the place of reality is that after the passage of the Domestic Partnerships Act, same-sex couples have more legal benefits than they previously enjoyed.
This was a compromise bill, wasn't it, really?
Absolutely. No clearer compromise that can be seen than the minister who led it.
Because I would assume the risk of this not being passed would be to revert back to Mr. Ferbert's amendments, which would have outlawed same-sex marriage altogether.
There's many different risks, but the fact is that what we had, and I think that it's important to understand, though the judge said that same-sex couples were entitled to marry, the judge cannot give same-sex couples legal benefits. That is something that has to be done by Parliament. And just to be clear, I think it should be clear from what we saw in Parliament is that there is no appetite in Parliament for that. So what we have to do is that we have to figure out what it is that we can get a consensus to pass into law and to move forward on that. That is a place where the former government failed. They failed to build consensus. They failed to engage broadly on this issue. We engaged broadly on this issue. We got consensus and we moved this matter forward. So now that this matter has been dealt with, we can now focus on other issues such as education reform, reduce the cost of living, and in growing our economy and creating more jobs for Bermudians.
Lots of speculation about it now going to the governor, whether the governor will give it consent. Are you concerned about that at all?
I expect that the governor will ratify the will of the Parliament.
How do you think history will remember this debate?
Well, I think that history will remember it by a government that chose to be courageous in leading when other governments had failed. The fact is, governing is not easy. If there's one thing that I've learned over the last 5 months, it's not easy. And quite often, you have to make the best choice out of two bad decisions. In this particular instance, we came together as a cabinet. We discussed this issue, very lengthy debates inside of our caucus, and we arrived at a position where, in the very divergent views of the Progressive Labour Party caucus, we came to a position and a compromise position in saying, this is what we're going to support going forward. And quite frankly, I think that we should be applauded for that.